Hi everyone. This is my first post ever, and it's just going to be me talking to you just like this. The reason for this is that I feel there should be a forum for Black women who are going through the in vitro fertilization process. I'm currently starting that process myself as of today. It's been a bit of a long, emotional process to decide to do it. I haven't actually had a long history of fertility struggles. I haven't had a bunch of miscarriages. I've never been pregnant before. There's nothing wrong with my husband. We're both healthy and all of our numbers have come back normal, and there should be no reason. It just hasn't happened, and due to the fact that it hasn't happened, we decided to pursue other options, which one being IVF. Now approaching it, I thought it sounded like a great thing, and maybe it will be, but there's a lot of emotional aspects that go on when you decide to do something like this, and that I wasn't actually prepared for. So I spent a lot of time thinking I was ready, thinking this is what I wanted. And then when it came to do it, I kind of chickened out. So stepping back a moment, today is day 2 of my cycle. So for those of you who do not know, your day 1 of your cycle is the first day of your period. So my period started yesterday. Today is day 2. And I have a day 2 start for IVF, which means I start my treatments, my medications, and all of that today. Now, I was supposed to start this last month, and last month I chickened out. I was supposed to start last month, and I was supposed to, on the second day of my cycle, second day of my period, I was supposed to start the medication and the treatment, and I had been tracking my period pretty regularly for almost the past year, and I've been tracking it with an app that I thought was infallible. And then all of a sudden, in the week that I decided that this, or the month that I decided to start this process, the app failed me, and it did not track my cycle accurately, or maybe it did, but my period came on a few days early, and it just freaked me out, and I just realized how emotionally unprepared I was to go through this at that time. So I decided to put it off for another month, and here we are. So this is that month, and being emotionally prepared for something like this is one of the biggest aspects of this. And it's something that I don't think people really think about. There's a lot of physical aspects. I mean, it's really physical, but the emotional aspects of it are really, really important. And I underestimated it because I thought, okay, well, I'm healthy. My husband's healthy. I haven't had a lot of heartbreak and fertility problems and, thinking it had happened and all of that. I hadn't had that. So I didn't expect to have any actual emotional reaction to any of this. But for me, it came from a lot of places. I mean, I had a lot of apprehension about, honestly, even becoming a mother. And that is still something I'm dealing with. I'm 35. And, your clock is ticking. And I'm just sticking. And eventually, biology says you have to. Now, I know I want to be a mother one day. I just didn't necessarily know when that day was going to happen or what day that was going to be. And I thought it would just click. I thought I'd just feel like, okay, no, it's like a fairy tale. It's now is the time, and this is the moment. And I thought that would happen. But at 35, it hasn't yet. But, a kind of a colleague of mine, we were talking about this, and she gave me some really interesting advice because she is currently out on maternity leave. And she said to me, she felt the same way. She was waiting for that, eureka moment, and she never had it. And ultimately, she realized that it wasn't necessarily that she was ready, but she knew that if she waited and she wasn't able to, she would be devastated. And I think I feel the same way. Right? I don't know if I'll ever have that eureka, it's time, it's the perfect time moment. Maybe there's never a perfect time. I don't know. But if you came to me today and said, okay, you can't have kids, I would be devastated. So, that's how I'm judging my time. So now it's time. So, it was first dealing with that. And then, I like my lifestyle. I like sleeping in. I like being selfish with my time and my money and my husband, and whatever I want. And I know all of that will have to change. And that's something, again, that I'll have to just prepare myself with and deal with. There are a lot of reasons. I'm Christian, and of course there's nothing wrong with it, but I started to think, maybe rightfully, maybe wrongfully, I started to think, okay, is by doing this, by doing IVF, by taking this scientific route, am I taking some of the magic, the mystery out of it? Am I taking God out of it because I'm putting it in science? But, I don't believe that. And I have to have faith with the fact that, it's no guarantee this will work. And if it works, I believe that all children come from God. And if it works, that's because God allowed for it to work and it was in His will. So just because you do an IVF process or any type of fertility process doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work or that you're doing something that goes against your religious beliefs. But that was something that I struggled with and that I had to think about. And ultimately, this is the place that I've come to. And it was just a lot of feelings about the process and what was necessary and the steps and side effects of the process. Side effects. And, it's just all the roller coaster I have to go through. And then I felt that going back to the colleague at work, she's Caucasian. And I feel that I know a lot of Caucasian people who have gone through this process, but I don't know any Black people or any people who are in my immediate circle who have gone through it. And so, one, I think that has to do with lack of access, right? Like, it's really expensive, and unless your insurance covers it or covers a good portion of it, it's really hard to get access to it. And in my case, my insurance, thank God, does cover it. And so that's why otherwise I would not be doing it. I think without insurance, it could probably be, $15,000, $20,000, and maybe more. And if you have to do it multiple times, who knows? And then there's the medications, and that's not including the medications. And the medications can be very, very pricey. And again, luckily, my insurance is covering the medications as well. So, there's that. And I think the reality is a lot of Black women may not have access to it in a lot of the way that other people may. And but again, I'm very fortunate to have insurance that covers it, or covers a huge portion of it. And then, it's still kind of taboo. There's some stigmas attached to it. And even some of my friends or people that I've told that this was something, a route that I was interested in pursuing, I'd hear things like, what's wrong with you? Or why do that? Or, just like not the feedback or the support that I thought I would get. I'm not really sure what I thought I would get, but not what I got. And so I kind of felt alone in the process, and I still kind of feel alone in the process, but doesn't mean I'm not going to do it if I have to travel it alone outside of, my husband, who is clearly going through the process with me, but, but he's a male, and he's on the side where he can't understand it the way that I feel like maybe another woman or someone who's been through it could. And so I decided to kind of video document my process. So today is day 2 of my cycle this month, but it is the first day that I'm starting my IVF treatment. So this morning I had to get up very early this morning to go and get to the doctor between 6:30 and 8:30 so I could get an initial ultrasound, an intravaginal ultrasound, where they stick the camera thingy. I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to say thingy, inside you, and they measure your uterus and your ovaries and your anterial follicles and all of these good things that I have no idea really what it means. I mean, I know what follicles and uterus and all that are at this point, but they measure all of that to see where you are and how it looks. And then they take blood work, and they test your blood and then tell you what medication to take. And believe me, there is a ton of medication. So if you ever want to do the IVF process, it is not something you can start on a whim. It is a long process. I've actually started blogging about it, and I'll link that if anyone is interested in some of the background before getting to this point of what I've done. But there's a lot of medications, and there's a lot of a process that you have to go through, and I had to get my medications, a whole box of medications mail ordered, and some of them have to be refrigerated. There's a lot of syringes. So this is not popping a bunch of pills. It's shooting medications. So it's injecting them. And so that in itself is overwhelming, because you would have to do that at yourself at home or with your partner, and you mix certain medications and you inject them, and you're into your abdomen, your lower abdomen, around where I guess the lady bits are on the inside, and you go from there. So it's scary. Even that process is scary, because again, you are injecting yourself, mixing up this medication at some point, injecting it. So it could be a little overwhelming if you've never done such a thing before, and I haven't. So I need to start that tonight. So today I'm going to take 125 milligrams of a medication called Follistim and 75 milligrams of another medication called Menopur. And then I'll do that today and tomorrow night. I have to do it between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Right now it's 6:41 p.m. There's a video on how to mix this medication, because before you can even really get into the IVF process, my doctor's office requires you take a class. And I did take the class, but we took it in August. It is now October. And I've forgotten. But luckily there are videos online. And I can link the link to the videos in case someone's curious, or, I don't know why, in case you're curious, why not? That you can watch, and they show how you mix the medication and how to inject the medication and all of that. And it's very scientific and all medicinal, I guess. And so to some extent, I guess it does lose a little bit of the magic and the mystery of that I'm pregnant moment, because when you get pregnant through IVF, you know the moment you got pregnant, the moment you got pregnant is when they did the implantation. So assuming it takes. So but it's still the creation of life, regardless of how it's done, is still it's still magical. So But so I have to start those injections tonight, and my husband will start something called doxycycline, which is a antibiotic that they'll have him take for 10 days, so to make sure he has no bacteria in his sperm, since he's going to be providing a fresh sperm sample. So he'll start that, and I'll start the shots. So I do the shots today and tomorrow, and then I'll go back. Today is Wednesday, October 17th, 2018. I will go back to the doctor on Friday to get blood work done, blood work only, and they'll test that. And then from there, they'll tell me what medication I need to take or inject until my next appointment. And so it continues like that with something called daily monitoring. It could be every day, every other day, or something like that, where you go in and you get either ultrasounds and blood work, or just blood work, and they see how your ovaries are developing. So basically during this process, your ovaries, the medication is supposed to make your ovaries develop more eggs, and so increase the number of eggs that you develop, and it also controls the rate that they develop, I believe. So you're constantly monitored by doctors and nurses to really see where you are in this, how your body is reacting to the medication, so they adjust it accordingly as you go through the process. So yeah, it sounds like a lot, and it does to me, and I think it is, but still something I've committed to doing. But ultimately, I felt that there was nowhere for Black women to really share their experiences, their feelings, their frustration, anything, honestly, related to any type of fertility process. And I wanted to share my story with people. And again, it's not really, I don't have like anything where you should feel bad that I've struggled for years or anything like that. It's not like that. It just hasn't happened. And so I'm going to try this way and see if I'll make it happen. One thing I want to note is that you also can't work out during the process. And I actually prior to today, worked out 7 days a week. So today I'm getting ready to work out because I haven't started the medication yet. So this will be my last time working out beforehand. So I kind of have my workout gear on right now. I'm getting ready to work out for the last day before the process. You can't do anything other than walk, is from what my doctor's office is explaining. It says no high impact working out, but you can't do anything where you're twisting your abdomen. So you can't do like yoga, Pilates, or anything where you're like twisting and turning, because your ovaries are like swelling with eggs and stuff, and they don't want you to get like some sort of like, I don't know, twisting your ovaries or something. So, which is a bad thing, right? So, anything other than walking is not recommended during this period. And normally the medications take like between 8 to 14 days, I'm told. So it's not like it's a long time. It's like 8 to 14 days for the medications, and they do the egg retrieval, and then they fertilize the eggs with the sperm and then their embryos, and they see which ones grow and which ones work out, which ones seem to be the best, and then they'll implant them. And then there's another few days during that time while, I guess, hopefully the embryos implant and take, and then you take a pregnancy test to see if you're pregnant. That's really the process in a nutshell. But so I just wanted to start it off like this, and I will try to continue to do this throughout the entire process. And if anyone wants to comment, hopefully nicely, but whatever, honestly, or share their feelings, thoughts, impressions, anything, that is the purpose for why I'm sharing. So I'll let you know how it goes next time. Once I remember how to do the shots again, I plan to show you how I do that. And but not today, because honestly, I can't remember. Right? I have to watch the video first. Otherwise, I would look quite foolish. So anyway, hopefully this will be helpful, and if nothing else, cathartic for me, because I'm sharing, and helps me relieve some of the feelings that I have about the process and feeling so alone in the process. And we'll just go from there. So I'll talk to you soon. Fingers crossed.